This week, dog and cat meat were banned in Zhuhai, China. Snoop Dogg helps donate 1 million vegan burgers to hospitals. And Kevin Smith gets ready to open a real-life Mooby's. This is Live Kindly News. Remember to hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon to turn on notifications, and leave your comments below. World-renowned primatologist Jane Goodall says disrespect for animals caused the coronavirus pandemic.
And our too close relationship with wild animals in the markets or when we use them for entertainment has unleashed the terror and misery of new viruses. Viruses that exist in animals without harming them, but mutate into other forms to infect us with new diseases like Ebola, SARS, MERS, and now the coronavirus.
The 86-year-old environmentalist, who is best known for her study of wild chimpanzees in Tanzania, made the comments during a conference call ahead of the release of National Geographic's upcoming documentary, Jane Goodall, The Hope. It is our disregard for nature and our disrespect of the animals we should share the planet with that has caused this pandemic, said Goodall. Goodall spoke about how the combined impacts of environmental destruction, hunting, wild animal meat markets, and factory farming are key factors causing the spread of zoonotic diseases like the coronavirus. These are the conditions that create an opportunity for the viruses to jump from animals across the species barrier to humans, she said.
After the terrible fires that we've just witnessed around the world, from the charred ground, new life springs. And after the droughts, when the first rains fall, once again life resurrects from the seemingly dead ground, from the black ashes and from the burnt grass. And we shall get through this pandemic.
Queen's lead guitarist Brian May also believes the respect for animals is critical. He says veganism is the way forward from the coronavirus pandemic. In an interview with NME, the 72-year-old musician said the global outbreak will cause people to re-examine their relationship with food animals. If you want to get deep into it, I think we should be looking again at whether we should be eating animals, he said. That's a central issue here. This pandemic seemed to come from people eating animals, and it's becoming more well known that eating animals is not the greatest thing for our health. Smithfield Food Inc. is closing its Sioux Falls-based pork plant indefinitely as hundreds of slaughterhouse workers test positive for coronavirus.
This Smithfield pork processing plant, one of the area's largest employers, is now a coronavirus hotspot, linked to nearly 900 cases.
The pork plant has become the single biggest source of coronavirus cases in the United States, prompting the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to send a team to the plant to assist with mitigation efforts.
A lot of us were getting scared, knowingly that if we didn't show up for work, we might not have a job. A lot of people were worried about their family members and bringing it home and spreading it to them.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem and Mayor Paul Tenhaken called on the meat processing company to remain closed, citing worker safety. It is crucial that Smithfield has a healthy workforce to ensure the continuity of operations to feed the nation. At the same time, employees need a healthy work environment, the two lawmakers said in a joint letter. The Sioux Falls plant, which employs approximately 3,700 people, is one of the largest pork processing facilities in the country. The plant was initially shut down for 3 days for cleaning, but will now remain closed indefinitely. Smithfield Chief Executive Ken Sullivan warned that the closure could severely impact national meat production. Snoop Dogg is helping Beyond Meat donate vegan burgers to hospital workers on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic. The rapper said on Instagram, Beyond Meat has made a pledge to donate over 1 million Beyond Burgers to those in need during these challenging times. He added, I'm proud to be a part of it. Snoop Dogg sent Beyond Burgers to Martin Luther King Jr. Community Hospital in southern Los Angeles. Comedian Kevin Hart also recently sent Beyond Burgers to Northridge Hospital Medical Center as part of the initiative. Beyond Meat is working to get its vegan burgers to hospital workers and food banks, as well as other frontline organizations. We are dedicated to making sure those who need it most right now have access to a good, nourishing meal at no cost, the company recently posted on Instagram. A second city in China has banned the consumption of dog, cat, and wildlife meat. Zhuhai, which borders Macau, made the decision in line with the government's recent announcement that cats and dogs are companion animals. Shenzhen was the first Chinese city to ban dog and cat meat consumption.
The coastal city, located next to the Hong Kong border, has banned people from eating dogs and cats. Wow. As part of their wilder clampdown on the wildlife trade since the coronavirus epidemic began in China.
Animal welfare organization Humane Society International is hoping there will now be a domino effect of bans across the country.
We're all supposed to be thrown into boiling pots for this pork now, I personally cannot save all the dogs, but I do as much as I could.
The nonprofit says other cities in China are now also considering bans. Shenzhen and Zhuhai's bans both take effect on May 1st. Coming up, Abu Dhabi invests $100 million in a plant-based indoor farm. Activists have launched a legal challenge to block the Scottish government from allowing the export of calves on journeys lasting longer than 8 hours. International farm animal welfare organization Compassion in World Farming applied for a judicial review in the Court of Session in Edinburgh earlier this year. It says Scotland sends thousands of calves to Spain on grueling journeys every year. The group challenges the Animal and Plant Health Agency, which is responsible for regulating international animal trade. In a press release, Compassion in World Farming said the agency goes against EU regulations by permitting the transport of unweaned calves on export journeys lasting longer than 8 hours. Under EU law, journeys over 8 hours are not permitted, unless, after 9 hours of travel, the calves are fed with milk replacer and given water. In practice, the calves are not fed, and in many cases, not given water. Compassion in World Farming is urging the Scottish Court of Session to rule the Scottish Government's actions as unlawful. It is currently awaiting permission from the court to proceed with the case. Coming up, 75% of people are giving up meat for their health. Due to a lack of arable land, high temperatures, and increasing water scarcity, the government of Abu Dhabi, the capital and second most populous city in the United Arab Emirates, is investing $100 million in indoor farming. The Abu Dhabi Investment Office is backing 4 ag tech companies. Vertical farming startup Madar Farms will construct a tomato farm.
Conventional farming is broken, and we need to come up with something new. That's why we founded Madar Farms. We've come up with 2 solutions. First one is our container farms. These are shipping containers, recycled shipping containers, where you build complete farms inside that container.
New Jersey-based company Aero Farms will build an R&D center. Florida's Responsive Drip Irrigation, or RDI, is developing a new irrigation system for growing plants in sandy soil. And Abu Dhabi-based startup RNZ is creating more potent fertilizers, reducing the need for resources in farming. The investment is part of a larger $272 million program supporting the development of ag tech projects, such as indoor farming. The government believes the vertical farming will help the United Arab Emirates, which imports 80% of its food, to become more self-sufficient. A new study out of the University of California, Davis finds 75% of people who consider going vegetarian do so for their health. UC Davis researchers surveyed 8,000 participants in the US and Holland, most of which were not vegetarians, to determine why non-vegetarians would decide to stop eating meat. 75% of respondents marked health as their primary reason. Christopher J. Hopwood, professor of psychology and co-author of the study, said, "The most common reason people say they would consider being vegetarian has to do with health. However, people driven primarily by health motives may be least likely to respond to vegetarian advocacy in general. Environmental and animal rights factors are the least common motives for non-vegetarians to consider going vegetarian. The study found people who are most committed to not eating meat, such as vegans, were motivated by these factors."
Yo man, I'm hungry. Where can we get some breakfast?
Filmmaker Kevin Smith is officially opening a real-life version of the fictional fast food joint Mooby's, which was featured in several of Smith's films. The menu will have vegan options. The vegan actor took to social media to announce the launch of a Mooby's pop-up. Now the folks who did Saved by the Max are building the Mooby's pop-up, an in-real-life eatery in Los Angeles that opens later this year, pandemic depending. But as a preview of what's to come, a Mooby meal will be available for delivery in LA via Postmates starting this Sunday and running till 4/25. According to Mooby's Instagram post, takeout meals will include Mooby's messy lasagna sandwiches, regular or vegan, with a side of hater tots and chocolate-covered pretzels for dessert. The meals will also feature a special toy surprise, an autographed reboot card from Smith. The filmmaker says the reboot card will entitle the bearer to front row slots when the pop-up is finally open to the public. Proceeds from Mooby meals will be donated to No Us Without You to provide meals to families affected by COVID-19. That's it for today. What do you think about Zhuhai, China banning dog and cat meat? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We'll see you again next week for Live Kindly's weekly news.